Welcome back with Mayor Dennis Williams from Wilmington, Delaware. Bobby Cummings, are you satisfied with the job he's doing?
I am.
Are you, the crime rate has not come down, but you think the steps he's taken go in the right direction?
Oh, absolutely. It takes time, and we'll get there. I know we will.
The Newsweek article that we mentioned a second ago talked a lot about the homicide, the homicide division. And I wrote about this too for Philadelphia Magazine. Why did it take so long to come up with that?
Well, first of all, you don't respond to everything that people write about. That's a fatal mistake when you're in a leadership position. You have to analyze, you have to think it out, you have to weigh before you jump in. I don't respond to heat and news articles because I think you make a mistake.
Forget the news articles for a second. I mean, if you have you have this problem,
okay,
and you don't have a homicide
you already had a
unit,
detective division.
It looks bad.
But you know, that's because people say that. You have a detective.
It's not bad?
You have a detective division that's already working. Okay, and they're investigating homicides. When they get to the point where they're being saturated, that's one of the reasons I looked at this and I said, you know what, it may be good just to pull a certain group of people and let's go to the feds and get a couple of people to help us that know how to track firearms.
So that wasn't in response to criticism. This is something you did separately from the criticism.
No, it wasn't in response to all the criticism. Some of the things that people said made me think and listen. But all the articles and all that nonsense that was written, no, I didn't respond to that. I respond to the people because you know what, they're going to write about you, whatever you do, Larry. You know, tomorrow they'll say the homicide unit stinks, the mayor shouldn't have did that. And then, you know, next week that'll be the top story. So I don't pay attention to that, really, I don't. Because if I do, I'd be crazy.
A month ago, when I was talking to the police chief, he said he needed 50 people. You gave him less than 10 for this homicide unit. Is that sufficient, you believe?
Well, it's going to be sufficient until we use all the federal equipment that we're getting. We're getting quite a few things from the ATF. They'll be doing a lot of our gun tracking and tracing, different types of equipment that track projectiles. So that's going to help us major. But when we get this new 35 people on the academy on the street, and once they get ready to go, we may put some additional folks into the homicide unit. But also I'm looking at trying to hire another 15 police officers, which will take us up to 50 new officers.
Let's talk about the city council for a second. I do want to talk about jobs and how you can bring jobs to the city aside from just the infrastructure bill, which I understand would be a big deal. But how do you feel? Do you feel like your relationship with the city council has improved since you've been here or gotten worse?
We work together.
Should I read into that answer that it's not good?
No, we work together.
Do you think that there are people on city council that I don't want to say stand in your way, but disagree with you for personal and political reasons more so than the good of the city, or do you just take them as honest adversaries?
Larry, I don't know what their reasons are, but I think the most startling thing to them was a legislator came in and became the mayor. We had one other previous legislator that was the mayor, that was former Mayor Jim Seals, but he was a city councilman. I never came through city council. I came directly from the General Assembly. And I think it was a shock to these folks because I'm known as a statey. And the way I set things up was totally different. There was things that was done from previous mayors that I eliminated. We changed things. There was more accountability, less spending of frivolous cash. I wanted to make sure that the summer jobs program, the jobs went to the poorest of the poor children. I didn't give out goodies anymore like things were done in the past. And I'm not going to point the finger at folks. I just came in and I said it's a new day and it's time for a change. And some members of my staff said, well, you know, you just drew the line in the sand and you're going to have some problems with that. And I understand that. And you know, it is what it is in this business, but when you're a leader, you make decisions, and sometimes you have to make tough decisions. Tough decisions sometimes that you have to come back on and deal with in the latter part of your political career. And that's where I am at this point, and I think that I've made the right decisions.
James Baker was here, the former mayor, the man you replaced, and he took your side in some of the fights against city council. He said he thinks sometimes the city council in Wilmington is overreaching, that they're trying to make executive decisions instead of legislative decisions, and that is not their purview. Would you agree with that?
I agree 100%.
And specifically when it comes to the fire department? Is that
well, the fire department and other situations that they've tipped across the line, and we've had to challenge and say, you know, you're the legislative branch, and that's where you need to be.
Now, you said that the relationship was muddied in the very beginning because you weren't part of the structure here and you came from the state.
That's my feeling. I truly.
So you think it's personal?
I think that they didn't understand me, and I think that, you know, when I came in and made some major changes, I think some people were upset. I think they thought that I could have probably sat down with them and had a better discussion. Maybe I could have, but again, you know, the charter says there's one CEO of Wilmington, and that's the mayor.
Let's talk about these jobs. You talked about infrastructure, and an infrastructure bill would be huge, not only for Wilmington, but for cities across America. But that can't be it.
No,
I know
no,
you
it
have
can't
this
be.
Grow Wilmington initiative,
Yes.
but how do you attract businesses to Wilmington now, especially, that's the problem with these headlines about crime in Wilmington. Who wants to move here?
It is. Well, we just brought on two new Starbucks. We're bringing on a new Marriott. I think people are starting to see that, you know, the headlines aren't really what it is in Wilmington. You do have your crime, but if you look all over this nation, you see cities are growing that have crime. And it's the same thing here. You know, we have 2 new condos going up, 350 new apartments. 80% of them are filled already. We have a lot of small businesses coming in. We have a new parking garage in the 1000 block of Jefferson where the first floor is going to be commercial, upscale commercial. So I would say that we are moving in the right direction. We just brought in an ice skating rink that is full to capacity. We have a new place called Trampoline where a lot of young kids go. They come as far away as Washington, D.C. and Baltimore. If you go down there, our movie theaters are full every night. Our ice skating rink now is full. The Trampoline Club is full with young children. That was about 60 jobs we brought on. I mean, I think we're doing okay.
I read an article about you a couple of months ago, and I want to talk about that when we come back, about making Wilmington a little hipper. When we come back with Mayor Dennis Williams.